Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town Board meeting for Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. We have our police entering. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Strauss, will you lead us today?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could remain standing, if we could have a moment of silence today in honor of one of our former Parks and Recreation Commissioners, Al Vitable, who lost a long-standing fight with cancer last week. Al was 40 years active with the Yorktown Lions and started our Leo's Club in the high school, and has been a tremendous impact on the youth of Yorktown over the years. Thank you. Please be seated.
Ed, how old is Al?
I don't remember his exact age. I think it was close to 80.
When's the services?
Wednesday, I think Ed said he did announce it at church.
Yeah. Services are tomorrow right here at Clark Giordano Funeral Home, 4 to 8, I believe.
3 to 8, I think it is. But
Or 3 to 8. You might want to check. Diana will check the obituary with a service, I believe, at St. Pat's on Thursday morning. Introductions, we'll start to...
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Good evening, Luciana Howitt, Councilwoman.
Supervisor Ed Lachterman.
Deputy Supervisor Sergio Esposito.
Councilman Patrick Murphy.
Councilwoman Susan Siegel.
And without a mic on my far left would be our Town Attorney, Adam Rodriguez. Right. For my report to the town, just a quick little update of a couple things.
It's actually 4 to 7.
4 to 7 on that wake tomorrow.
11:15 for the
11:15 Mass at
Mass.
St. Pat's. Thank you. Over the weekend, we had three great events. On Saturday, we had two. Troop 174, speaking about impacting children, of the Boy Scouts of America, celebrated their 50th anniversary. Congratulations to them. They have 122 Eagle Scouts in those 50 years, which is just an amazing number.
It's impressive.
It is very impressive. And at our library, the SPCA of Westchester had a mobile adoption event. Almost had my wife taking home a puppy. Almost. Unfortunately, our dog Bentley wouldn't like that too much. And then the Sons of the American Legion had their breakfast with a special presentation or dedication this Sunday. This past Sunday, we have a patio at the post that was really built under the direction of Tom Diana, and the patio was named in his honor. So it was a nice little dedication. Nice to see Donna Diana there, and well deserved, because the two of them worked tremendously at getting that done. Upcoming this week and a little into the future, we have the Lions are doing a turkey drive tomorrow at Uncle G's from 3 to 6, and at the gazebo from 10 to 2 on Friday, the 22nd. What they're doing is they'll be out in front of Uncle Giuseppe's or at the gazebo on Friday, collecting either turkeys or cash donations, which will help the Presbyterian Church Food Bank and St. Mary's. A lot of families in need over this holiday season, so anything you could do to help would be great. Visit the Lions and say hello. On Thursday, there'll be the grand opening of the new location of La Violetta Restaurant at the Jefferson Valley Mall. They're moving up from Cortland into Yorktown. This coming Saturday, for anyone who's a memorabilia fan, we have the Titan Card Show at the Cappellini Center, running from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's more information on that on the town website. On Thanksgiving itself, in the morning from 8:30 to 10 a.m., the Senator Terrence Murphy Turkey Trot on Front Street, and that will also help two food banks, St. Joseph's in Mayapack, St. Mary's in Mohegan Lake, and also United for the Troops, sending packages overseas to our military, especially during the holiday season. On Saturday, the 30th, Dunkin' Donuts is having their official grand reopening, but if you haven't noticed, I'm sure all of our police back there know that they have reopened. Nice new setup, and they really, really nice look, and go and help them and celebrate their new look. And I meant for the coffee, guys, not the donuts. I see a lot of you there getting coffee in the morning. And then coming up in December on the Saturday the 7th, we have our Holiday Lights Parade, and on the 14th, we have our Shrub Oak Tree Lighting Ceremony. The Holiday Lights Parade starts on Front Street at 6 p.m. It goes over to the field at the old 6th grade school, the Cappellini Center, and we do our tree lighting there. Santa Claus makes a visit, so make sure you're behaving and showing up there, okay? All right, and then the Shrub Oak Tree Lighting will be at 6:30 on the 14th. And just want to wish you and your families a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving, and a peaceful one as well. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Councilman Patrick Murphy and Supervisor Ed Lackerman. I had a school function this weekend, but our troop of Girl Scouts, which are amazing, came in. It is Junior Girl Scout Troop 02861 came to Town Hall on Friday, and they got their government badge. And both the councilman and the supervisor was able to wrangle.
was
How many
fun.
girls were here?
These 15 girls.
Yeah, it was a big room of girls, and they were
great.
able to see what the laws look like, how to help expand the laws so that we can get an abundance of goodness in the neighborhood, how to perfect and secure fundings and whatnot. And then also they were able to get their badge because of what they could contribute. They also got a tour of Town Hall, I heard.
Well, everything was closed. Luciana couldn't make it, so she set it up for 7 p.m. on a Friday night. Thank you so
but
much.
They actually were really upset that I didn't have a glittery office. Hint,
Yeah,
hint.
yes.
But other than that, it was great. So I just want to thank everyone.
Yes,
And happy Thanksgiving.
So I'm looking forward to the grand opening at La Valletta. That was a long time coming, and he had a rough go of it with his at his old location. I think he got thrown out.
Lost his lease, yeah.
Lost his lease, yeah. Well, we could say it that way. We missed a couple. You did the Titan Sports Card Show. On November 22nd, there's a grand opening for Better Sugaring. That's at 6 o'clock, Suite 3A here at 1929 Common Street, right around the corner. And Homer Rich has moved from the Triangle Shopping Center, right across the street, really. And they are at 2050 Sawmill River Road, that big brown building, right? That'll be 10 to 2. So that'll be a nice, another ribbon cutting and grand opening. We did the Dunkin' Donuts one, and this Shrub Oak Smiles, which is December 14th. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but that's another grand opening, and the business community in Yorktown continues to thrive, and I'm very, very happy about that. And we should all
Storefronts
frequent.
are filling up.
The storefronts are filling up. Yeah, we should all frequent as many of our local establishments as possible, as often as we can. A very, very good friend. I'm a good friend with these people, the Mayer family, and their son Gavin, who I believe at some point or another I may have coached, or we played each other. Our kids played each other for years. He's doing his Eagle Scout, and that'll be this Sunday. So that's a great, monumental achievement. It's a lot of work these kids put in, and it takes a lot of discipline. I am happy to announce that the other day at Yorktown High School, it was signing day for any D2 and D1 athletes, and I'll read them out. Brady McHenry, he's going to Hobart and William Smith College for lacrosse. Someone who I know personally, Luke Esposito, Mercy University, he'll be pitching there playing baseball. Joe Carucci, congratulations, Monmouth University, that's a D1 school. Derek Patrici, Wagner College for baseball. Brian White, Pace University for baseball. Dominic Buccello, Lenore Rhine University for lacrosse. And then you have Ava Kunin, University at Albany for lacrosse. Sophia Boucher, Southern Connecticut State University. And Brianna Gacchino is going to Iona for lacrosse. Congratulations to all these students. They're great. I know them all personally. And they come from wonderful families, and they're just a good bunch of kids. And they deserve all the accolades and success that's coming their way. Congratulations to them all. Thank you.
All righty. So I'll make it quick for everybody that has a vest on. Real quick, Luciana, the Girl Scouts were great. There was 15 of them there. They asked very smart, articulate questions for 10 years old. It was awesome. It's great to see that the future is bright. It's very good. And then, again, on Thanksgiving, my brother Terrence is going to have the turkey trot out there. It's a great way to support the local food pantries around here. 100% comes in, 100% goes out, and it all goes right to the local food pantries. So, and then, we worked on the budget this week. I'm sure you're going to hear more of that. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I just want to remind our residents about some openings on our volunteer advisory boards, which are an essential part of making this town the great place that it is to live. I'm sorry, I don't have the list with me, but I remember that we have openings on the Heritage Preservation Commission, the Conservation Board, the Housing Board, the Advisory Board for Community Appearance, Architecture and Community Appearance, otherwise known as the BACA, the Tree Commission, and I think also the Veterans. Do they have openings?
I'd have one opening.
I wasn't sure.
It's one.
Okay, you don't, let's see if I missed any. And the Recreation Commission, also the Board of Assessment Review, and the Zoning Board. You don't need professional expertise in these areas. What you need is an interest in them and a commitment to serve. They typically meet once a month. The salary is $0, but you get a good insight into your community, and it's a good way to serve your community. If you have any interest, please send an email to the supervisor's office. The email address is lmarino@yorktownny.org, and if you can't remember that, just the supervisor's email. Thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
And before we start with the police, I will also thank the police, because I am under the understanding that every year people coming off shift usually volunteer for the turkey trot, so we have police coverage on the roads. They do that out of their dedication, and it's very much appreciated to help bring back more to the food banks. Thank you, guys and girls. All right, we will go now for our presentation and introduce our fine chief of police, maybe the finest in the nation, Bob Noble.
That's a lot to live up to. All right. Good evening, everyone. And for those of you who do not know me, yes, I am Robert Noble, Chief of Police, Town of Yorktown. Proud to be the Chief of Police for many of the men and women you see tonight here in this room. It is my honor and privilege to introduce three of our newest three police officers this evening. The hires were made in the spring and the summer. It was a very busy summer and fall, so here we are tonight. And I am excited that we'll be before you again next month to introduce our promotions and new assignments within the police department. So a lot of good things happening in your hometown police department. And before I do begin, Al Avidable was a very good man. And he was a friend of the Yorktown Police Department. For many years, Al supported the DARE program. He and the Leos would cook hot dogs, and all the proceeds from those hot dogs would go right to our DARE program, which went right back to the community, supporting the children in our schools. So may Mr. Avidable rest in peace, and we respect and appreciate his many contributions to the Yorktown Police Department. So at this time, I would like to ask Yorktown Police Officer Ashley Sakaza to please step up. Ashley Sakaza is a Westchester native and graduated from Lakeland High School in 2006. Ashley began her career in law enforcement in July of 2011 with the New York City Police Department. During her time with the NYPD, Ashley specialized as a domestic violence officer, a recruit academy instructor, and a member of the Curriculum Evaluation Unit. During her career, she has been acknowledged for excellent police duty and meritorious police duty. Ashley's favorite people are her 2 children, who are here tonight, and her husband, who is also here tonight. On weekends, you can find the Sakaza family on the county trails, at church, or at their favorite local restaurant. And while Ashley was quite humble with her accolades coming to the Yorktown Police Department, I could tell you that we are quite selective in who joins our ranks. I think we have an outstanding culture in the building, and that carries over into the community. And throughout the interview process and the background process, Ashley was somebody who stood out and somebody who we knew would make a positive difference in this community and blend right in with our team at the Yorktown Police Department. In her short time here, Ashley's been involved in several cases. Probably the most important was a hit and run that occurred, bicyclist, back in 2020. That the case went cold, and we were fortunate enough to receive tips that our outstanding detectives and officers ran down and wound up identifying a subject of interest, person of interest, and an interview took place. And there was a language barrier somewhat in that interview, and Ashley is bilingual. And not only can she speak a second language, but the suspect in this case was a female suspect. And it was outstanding investigative work by the detectives, but she set the tone with a very, very laid-back interview style, knew the direction where we had to go, didn't force the issue, did an excellent interview calmly, respectfully, and at the end of the day, from that interview and from the structural presentation of evidence to the suspect, an admission was gained and a case was closed. That was over a 4-year-old case and involved the death of a human being. So, again, that's what we expect moving forward, and I know we're going to get it with Ashley. She's doing a great job, and we're so happy to have her. Can I get a nice round of applause for Officer Ashley Sakaza? At this time, I'd like to have the Sakaza family, please, and Mr. Desir, please come up and join Ashley as she takes the oath from our town clerk, Diana Quast.
Anywhere's fine. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ashley Sakaza,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
police officer in the Yorktown Police Department
police officer in the Yorktown Police Department
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my
So
abilities.
help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
And after Ashley gets done thanking the town board, pinning her badge upon her chest will be her father, retired Westchester County Corrections Officer Jean-Robert Desir. Well done. You can come right back over here. And at this time, I'd ask Yorktown Police Officer Brian Bennett to please join me up. Yorktown Police Officer Bennett is a graduate of Mayapack High School, class of 2015. During his time at Mayapack, he was an active member of the wrestling team, where he developed a strong sense of teamwork and camaraderie. In his senior year, he also joined the Mayapack Volunteer Fire Department, contributing to his community. Following his high school graduation, Officer Bennett enlisted in the United States Navy, serving for 5 years aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt. His naval service included one deployment to the Persian Gulf and another in the South Asian Seas. In 2021, he was honorably discharged with the rank of Petty Officer, Second Class. He received the Armed Forces Service Medal, the Good Conduct Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, Navy Pistol Sharpshooter Ribbon, 2 Sea Service Deployment Ribbons, and the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. In January of 2023, Officer Bennett began his law enforcement career with the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department, following in the footsteps of his father. With strong familial ties to the Yorktown area and a soon-to-be wife working at Lakeland Schools, Officer Bennett was privileged to transfer to the Yorktown Police Department in May of 2024. He aspires to continue his service to the community and establish deep roots in Yorktown. And again, as I said with Officer Sakaza, Officer Bennett stood out in the interview process and the background process. We have no shortage of applications at the Yorktown Police Department, and we interview quite a few people. And you know what? Officer Bennett, with his military service, a free and easy smile, and just a heck of a personality. He really he stood out, and his background investigation went flawlessly. He also has made multiple arrests since he's joined us here at the Yorktown Police Department. He has fit right in within our team and also out there in the community. So we're expecting a very bright future from you, Brian, and we know you're going to deliver on that. And he has been nothing but a pleasure since he has walked through the door. And again, we're fortunate at Yorktown to bring him into the Yorktown Police Department. So can I get a nice round of applause for Officer Brian Bennett? And at this time, I'd ask the Bennett family and the in-laws to come up and join. The Unmans, come on up. And please join Brian as he takes the oath from our town clerk, Diana Quast.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brian Bennett,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
police officer in the Yorktown Police Department
police officer in the Yorktown Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations to you.
Pinning Officer Bennett's badge upon his chest is his father, retired Peekskill Police Department Detective John Bennett.
Not your first rodeo. But maybe you're most proud.
Well, now, I missed a step, and I'm usually pretty good at this. Officer Sakaza, will you please come up and say a few words to the community that are here tonight? You see that? I'm a little rusty. Usually I'm flawless with this,
Yeah.
but I missed a step. Officer Sakaza, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief, Lieutenant, Town Board.
You have to go to the mic,
Go to that mic.
one of the mics.
Either one,
Hey,
whichever
Mike.
can be.
Be a little bit louder.
I tried, it doesn't work.
It doesn't
My-
work? Okay.
My Bronxus doesn't make it.
So I
trust
want to
me.
thank the chief, lieutenant, the people that I work with, the town board. It is a pleasure to be able to serve. It is an honor to be able to serve in Yorktown. And I look forward to what the future brings. Thank you.
Congratulations.
If I don't thank these people, I won't hear it. So I'm sorry. My family
Yeah.
for all the support, my kids, my husband who picks up my slack from time to time. Love you all. Thank you.
Officer Bennett.
I want to thank for the council. Thank you for the opportunity here, Chief, Lieutenant. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to my family and everybody in the back for all the consistent support. So, thank you.
Good job.
And for those of you who may not know, as I said, he's got future in-laws here. Officer Bennett is getting married next month, so it's exciting times for Officer Bennett. All right.
So you have a lot of pins and rings and things going on. I like it.
He's taken.
He's getting accessorized. I love it. It's great.
All right, at this time, I'd ask Yorktown Police Officer Kelby Castulo to please step up. Yorktown Police Officer Kelby Castulo is a dedicated law enforcement professional with a strong commitment to public service and community safety. Born and raised in the New York metropolitan area, Kelby's career in law enforcement has been marked by notable achievements, leadership, and a passion for making a positive impact in the community he serves. Kelby graduated from Lakeland High School in 2014, and following high school, he pursued higher education at Mercy College, where he earned his degree in legal studies in 2019. During his time at Mercy College, Kelby developed a keen interest in criminal justice and law, laying the foundation for his future career in law enforcement. In 2020, Kelby began his professional career as a police officer with the New York City Police Department, the NYPD. He was assigned to the 4-9 precinct, where he quickly established himself as a reliable and effective officer, committed to serving the diverse and vibrant community of the Bronx. His hard work and dedication did not go unnoticed. In recognition of his outstanding contributions, he was honored with the prestigious Cop of the Year award. In addition, Kelby received a proclamation from the New York City Council acknowledging his exemplary service and positive impact on the community. As his career progressed, Kelby's leadership abilities were further recognized when he was selected to join the Neighborhood Safety Task Force, the NST, a specialized unit focused on addressing community safety concerns and combating gun violence in high-crime areas. In this role, Kelby played an instrumental part in developing and implementing strategies to reduce violence, foster community trust, and ensure safer neighborhoods for all residents. On June 3rd, 2024, Kelby transitioned to a new role when he was hired by the Yorktown Police Department. He brought with him a wealth of experience, a deep understanding of community policing, and a commitment to ensuring the safety and well-being of the residents of Yorktown. His transition into this role marks the next chapter in a career devoted to protecting and serving the public with integrity and professionalism. Kelby's career in law enforcement is characterized by his dedication to excellence, community engagement, and his unwavering commitment to making a difference in the lives of others. As he continues his work in Yorktown, Kelby remains focused on building strong relationships with the community and ensuring that safety and justice are upheld for all. And I will have you know, again, staying consistent and true to form, the interview process was going well with Kelby, and to his credit, he never mentioned to us that he was Cop of the Year during his interview with our first-line supervisors. One of our sergeants got nosy and looked him up in the NYPD and pulled that case out of him, where it was a true meritorious case where children were basically, they were going to be killed. They were kidnapped. They were in a place being held against their will. And Kelby and his partner went to an apartment in the Bronx and basically rescued those kids. And I'm quite convinced after reading up on the case that he saved lives that day, and that he was humble enough not to even willingly boast or share that with us during the process. He was a lock after that, that he would stand fast and not even want to mention something like that. He's come to our police department. He, again, just like Officer Sakaza and Officer Bennett, he is fit, right in. As I've said before, as you can see, the officers who ring this room, it's just an outstanding culture where all of these officers enjoy being around each other. And he's been a great addition, a quick fit, quiet and humble, easy smile, and he gets out there and does his job very well and in an excellent manner. And again, we look forward to a bright future, and we think Yorktown is going to be very well served with Officer Castulo joining our ranks. So could I have a please, nice round of applause. for Officer Kelby Castulo. At this time, I'd like the Castulo family, Rodriguez family, please come to the podium and join Kelby as he is sworn in by the Honorable Diana Quast.
You look so pretty. I love your dress. Thank you. So pretty. Yes, you do.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kelby Castulo,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
police officer in the Yorktown Police Department,
police officer in the Yorktown Police Department,
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And pinning Officer Castulo's badge upon him will be his father, Ray Rodriguez. Officer Castulo, a few words.
Just want to say thank you, Chief Noble. Thank you, Lieutenant Graham. Thank you to the town board and to all my supervisors here in Yorktown. Thank you to my family, and I look forward to serving alongside all of you. Thank you again.
Again, I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to present these new officers, and they all share something in common. Officer Sakaza is a Lakeland High School graduate.
They all came home.
Officer Castulo is a Lakeland High School graduate, and while Officer Bennett is a Mayapack High School graduate, he is marrying a Lakeland High School graduate. So they all, have, wait a minute, that's right, John, you were a Lakeland High School graduate. Yeah, Brian's father, John Bennett, was a Lakeland High School graduate. Again, we're fortunate in this day and age to be able to hire people that have ties to this community. A lot of police departments do not have that. They have officers that really don't have a connection to the community other than to protect and serve that community and to, get paid at the end of 2 weeks by that community. But, this police department, I would say 8 out of 10, maybe even more, have some type of tie where it's personal to them that, Yorktown remains a safe place to live and raise a family, to come to work, to visit. And as I'll say every time you allow me to, we get better with everyone that we hire that comes through our doors. And they only add to an outstanding police department. There were a couple things, briefly, if you'll allow me, that I'd like to speak to. One was on November 9th, unfortunately, we had a homicide occur here in the town of Yorktown, and our thoughts and prayers are with, Geraldine Kressmer and her family, of course. But, when that call for service comes in and you're working the road that night and you get a shots fired call, and you're going to that call for service uncertain as to what you will find, and then you find the worst of the worst. You find, a human just lying there, in a pool of blood and deceased. And to get to that scene in 90 seconds to 2 minutes and, quickly devise a plan is just amazing. And it's what we're trained to do, and it's what we're expected to do. But to actually go out there and execute that plan and do it in such a timely manner, I know there'll be, we'll talk about this in the future, but some of them are here tonight. Sergeant Tom Byer is back there, and he was a TS. He was a tour supervisor on duty. And, it was he and, and Officer Brandon Montero and Officer Gino Argiro, who received that first call and had to go in there and make that discovery, clear an apartment, calm a hysterical person inside that apartment, go out there and canvass to see if that shooter was still out there, and then, hold it down to allow the cavalry to come to where we could do our jobs and obtain information and relay that information in such a manner. And we're lucky that the county police was there to help us quickly, but I can tell you that when I responded there, probably inside of 20 minutes of it happening, along with Lieutenant Jim Graham, who was there before me, to have us live locally and to have police officers who are so in tune with the community and know the ins and outs, the backwoods, the back roads, you name it, that we were able to be there that quickly, I think really contributed to us being able to locate the suspect, in this case, Siniglio, who I don't know if I can say this, but I will, thankfully took a bullet that night and is not with us anymore. But every day, they do a tremendous job out there, and yeah, you can give them an applause. I'm proud of the work that they do every day. I'm glad they come out here tonight to support their brothers and sisters who are beginning their career with us. And I am proud to be their chief of police, and I can only hope that's reciprocated, because I do care about them and their families a great bit. And lastly, two things. I want to thank you for allowing us to participate in the FBI Safe Streets Task Force. This town board approved a request that I made to have one of our officers, Detective James Hannigan, run with the FBI Safe Streets Task Force. And that contributed greatly that evening. We had resources at our fingertips when minutes counted. That contributed greatly. And then also, there was a media release that came out where 6 people were arrested in a federal sting in Peekskill for cocaine distribution. And there was a 7th person involved in that case. And when we executed the search warrant, he did not have cocaine. So he was not included in the press release by the United States Southern District. He was he lived in Yorktown. He lived right down here. And the only reason he wasn't in there in that arrest was because he had 89 grams of PCP, which is enough to get this town pretty high on any given night. A Class B felony. And because we had somebody on the Safe Streets Task Force, Detective James Hannigan, we took the suspect, Mr. Lamar Kingwood, into custody that day. And again, 89 grams of PCP, Class B felony, and he's released because under New York State's bail reform laws, we could not hold him. I will say this also every time you give me a chance to say it. The laws in this state have to change, because it only gets more and more, less and less safe for my officers. And when they're not safe, the community is not safe. But, rest assured, we'll continue to go out there and do our jobs and lay it on the line every night and every day. But we need some help from the politicians in state positions to change these laws, because if you saw the quantity, and it's not like it's marijuana, which they legalize. This is PCP, all right? It was a large quantity, and for somebody to be able to stroll out the door with that type of haul, it's just it's not conducive to a lawful society, all right? So again, to your credit, you kind of went with my recommendation. I thank you for that. You've always supported me, and because of that, we have Jimmy Hannigan on that task force. And that, again, it puts us to the top of the line. Not every town has somebody on a Safe Streets Task Force. You do. And we're going to derive a benefit for that for years to come. So I commend you on allowing us to do that. And I commend the work that's done, again, by our police department.
Yeah. So, Bob, before you wrap up, I believe also in the homicide case, the perp had 4 or 6 priors, and
he had 8 arrests, 4 of them felonies, 2 of them violent felonies,
and was on tape threatening to do exactly what he did or tried to do, and kill the woman. So you're right, and I will fight for the laws to change. Our judges need to have discretion in sentencing, and we need to keep our streets safe. And it's, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, is one of the biggest driving forces in our support of our police department. But the key to it, though, is when you look at the men and women that are serving. I had a conversation with one of the residents at the location of the shooting, and she said that her 2 teenage sons, who always, like, oh, it's the cops, she said to him, you know what? You heard something, you ran to the back of the house away from everything. Look at where these men and women are running. They're running into it. They're doing what they need to make sure everyone's safe. And you did neglect to mention, I think it was about 2 hours total time from start to finish, which is absolutely amazing police work. And just, commend you all for the job, because you work as a team and it shows. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you.
I just don't understand how, I don't think you need much discretion to realize that if you, aside from the homicide, which is very tragic, and our hearts go out to the family, but you busted somebody with 89 grams of PCP. I don't think anybody in this room would say, hey, let him go, because how do you come across 89 grams of PCP? Not by doing stand-up citizen stuff, right? You're working in shadows and you're doing everything illegal. As far as the FBI task force chief, we know that you have this town's back, and this town board will always have all of your backs, just so you know. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, for the support. And on a personal note, thank you for allowing me. I was selected by my peers to represent the New York State, the Westchester County Chiefs of Police Association. I am now on the Board of Governors of the New York State Chiefs of Police Association, so I'll be representing this zone. And you guys said yes, so I thank you for the support, and I'll do my best to continue to represent the town, and on a local level and a state level on a law enforcement basis.
And you'll continue to do the great job you do, I'm sure.
Keep up the good work.
Rising up.
That's right. No, hey, listen. Thanks. But I think you know what I'm going to say. It's because of them. I got a great team.
No, it's the family you built.
You know what? This police department, in a town that I think is a unicorn town, you got a unicorn police department. There's no other police department like the Yorktown Police Department, and the men and women that work there, really special people who care about their community, and because they have deep ties to it. So again, I thank you all very much for listening to me tonight, and for helping me celebrate the successes of our police department and our new additions. Thank you.
Thank you all back there.
Time to do some business.
Adam, if you want, you could grab the microphone.
So grateful.
Time to do some
Your own mic
business.
All right, well, while we all are very thankful, I would like to read a proclamation for the 16th day of November 2024, whereas on Thanksgiving Day we thank God for the abundant blessings in our lives as we gather with families and friends to celebrate the season of generosity, hope, and gratitude. We commemorate America's founding traditions of faith, family, friendship, and whereas we are grateful for our family, friends, and all of our fellow Americans, even those whom we may never meet but rely upon nonetheless, we thank our brave service members and veterans who sacrifice so much for our freedom, and the first responders who put so much on the line to keep us all safe. And whereas, as we celebrate, we will also think of the many families feeling the pain of an empty chair at the Thanksgiving table. You are not alone, and our hearts are with you. And whereas we encourage everyone to join and thank the friends, neighbors, family members, and strangers who have supported each other over the past year in a reflection of goodwill and unity, now therefore, I, Edward A. Lachterman, and the Town Board proclaim Thursday, November 28th, 2024, as a National Day of Thanksgiving, as we gather, offer a prayer of thanks to God for our many blessings. Okay. All right. Did John send you anything?
No.
No. All right. On our poet laureate, we wish a speedy recovery. Believe he fell walking up some steps with his dog. Didn't hurt the dog, but did break his hip. So, John, we wish you a very, very speedy recovery and get well soon. We will now open for courtesy of the floor.
Excuse me. Dan Strauss, 58-year resident. I guess it might be kind of appropriate. It's not on a very good note, but I'm not sure if you're aware that the other evening, an ATV driver in Mayapack allegedly ran a young lady off the road playing chicken.
Oh.
That's my understanding. And I happened to mention it to a gentleman who lives in Mayapack, and he kind of backed up what the story in the paper is. Excuse me. So my comment, this is an ongoing issue, and I believe there's been a crackdown down county. Read about that, and I just think that I'm not sure exactly what our law is, but I know we were supposed to spruce it up or strengthen it, but I don't think a lot of people give a damn still, and I think you should be addressing the parents. That came out. I think that our law doesn't do much to address them at all. So, and I think even though I know I've spoken off the record to Mr. Rodriguez, just so that you know, there's at Sparkle Lake, if you dump stuff, it's $1,000 to $2,000 fine. So why can't that be, bless you, why can't that be the norm, straight out, or more? Okay, so having said that, I'm just going to talk about one other thing. The other day, Mr. Lachterman visited our little coffee group after the opening at TJ Maxx. And he said, is it better that the stores are filled or are they empty? And I think it's much better they're filled. From what I understand, there's chatter already on the internet that traffic is an issue. So I'm simply going to say this. I've never been in favor of Underhill Farm. Never have. I've made it very clear. I think the town could have done a lot better with that property. At least made it a better attempt. So I believe that that's all that's been important over the last 6 years to get Underhill Farm done. And everything else has gone by the wayside, and it's very unfortunate because you've changed the town forever. Thank you.
Good evening, Larry Killian, Yorktown Heights. Hi. I have some budget suggestions. Clean energy is cheap energy. Instead of buying electricity, we should make our own electricity, as Ed and I do, by the way. We can buy solar panels, which are guaranteed for 25 years, pay them off in a few years, and reap the benefit for 20 years. By buying solar panels, We are locking in the cost of electricity for decades. As you know, the rates keep going up. So in the budget, you have $587,000 to buy electricity. Have you run the numbers to find out how much you would save if you took $1 million from the fund balance and bought solar panels? Understand that if you use $1 million to bring down the tax rate, that money is gone. But if you buy solar panels, that money starts coming right back in the form of at least a 90% reduction on your electric bill. So now a brief look at gasoline. In the tentative budget, it's $176,000 for gas. As a matter of procedure, should not each department head who is buying a vehicle have to demonstrate that there is not a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid option? For example, last month you approved for the water department two 2025 all-wheel drive Ford utility police vehicles. There's a hybrid version of that same car which costs $3,500 more, but it gets up to 800 gallons a year more on gas, and Ford estimates that it saves $17,000 over 6 years. So that procedure should be put in place. Hopefully, as you go through the budget process, we are going to see real evidence of you looking to the transition to clean energy to save money. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Good evening, Mark Lieberman. I live on Wells Street. Harvard forest researchers and the Audubon Society have written a landmark report that states stronger land use and incentive policies would allow a smoother transition to clean energy sources without sacrificing more forests and farmlands. Deploying solar often means cutting back on tree cover and losing the climate change mitigation it provides through pulling carbon dioxide from the air, storing the carbon, and releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. By shifting from large ground-mounted solar to more projects on rooftops, parking lots, and already developed lands, we can also increase our green energy sources. The authors make it clear clean energy sources aren't enough to meet climate goals. Removing carbon from the atmosphere is just as important. That's trees. Our core forests are incredibly valuable for wildlife habitat, biodiversity, and carbon storage, and we must do everything we can to protect them from further fragmentation. But Mr. Tegeter made a good point last week. He said if you don't put up solar farms, the same land will be used for housing. Well, that doesn't happen as quickly because of the cost. Solar farms are much cheaper to develop. But staying with Mr. Tegeter's conclusion for a minute, what else do you do when you get housing instead of a solar farm? Skipping the aesthetics, which you've been debating for a long time, I'd rather see a house than a solar farm. When a house is built, you get neighbors. I imagine residents like having neighbors. And these neighbors need food. They need haircuts, lawn care, appliances, recreation, and so on. As you said before, shop locally. Apparently, Mr. Tegeter's plan appears to be supported by the supervisor, and it would eliminate business growth in favor of property use that actually discourages further housing and limits business growth. So you get a double hit on all local businesses. Business growth is based on population growth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Good evening, Town Board. I'm Howard Gould.
Hey, Howard.
Howard.
I've been here since 1999. Now imagine Yorktown Heights 50 years from today, with all the changes being considered, fluoride, traffic, density, financial, and a lot more, will not only affect us now and the next year, but our great-great-grandchildren. Question: what do you want our legacy to say with our decisions as being made today? Turn the page to the next chapter. Does anyone know what's going to be written in the chapters ahead in the future? I'd like to give thanks and kudos for the majority board voting to suspend the fluoride in Yorktown. It was a wise, smart, and logical decision in protecting the babies of Yorktown. I totally agree. I am committed to always learning something new every day throughout my lifetime. I had many mentors throughout my life, and some of you are here now, and you know who you are. That is what life is all about, in my opinion. Learn from each other. Speak in kindness. Speak in civility. Respect to each other. That is just one of the most important of the many life lessons I have learned. I see great hope in the future of Yorktown, just like I've always seen great hope and success in Yorktown daily since I've been here. Thank you, Town Board, for your time and patience.
Thanks, Howard.
Thanks, Howard.
Good evening, Ken Belfer.
Hello, Ken. Nice haircut.
Thanks, I got scalped. I don't think this was mentioned, pardon me if I missed it, but Saturday is the Great Fall Cleanup, which is the fall version of the Spring Battle of Yorktown.
It was not mentioned. Thank you for mentioning it. We slipped our minds.
Yes, so, yeah, if you mention it, that will.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken.
So, I'll mention afterwards. Go on.
Go ahead, Ant.
Come on up, Ant. How you doing?
Good. Hi, Anthony Pichette. I just want to say a few things as far as recommend for the budget. I wanted to echo Sergio's when he spoke, I think, last time about a marquee for the actual theater, because that would be really nice. That could also, I think the decision was made about what to spend the $100,000 on. Yeah, but I mean, that could also advertise, like you discussed, that could also advertise what's going on in the theater. And they do a lot of good stuff over there, and it would just look nice because boy, Augie and the team, they do a lot of good things. Yeah. Second of all, I want to, it's easy to say, let's give more money to the library. Everyone wants to give more money to the library. We've had discussions. I think it was yesterday or the day before, someone posted that they're looking for, please give us rail tracks to put in the library. It's like they were asked. I mean, it sounds like it was kind of sad that they were, like they can't afford to buy those things there. So hopefully, I'm sure everyone loves the library. I just encourage that we could put more towards that. And my last thing is, again, with Veterans Road, I came here before. My kid goes to school there. We have so many things on that road. We have veterans, we have older folks, we have kids, and it is a dangerous road. It is scary. I don't know what. Like I was talking to everyone talks about the traffic. You see it so many times. People posted like, "Is there something we could do?" And it seems like the answer is no. I was struck by Councilman Murphy's comment. Is like if anything we do could save one life, it's worth trying. And for some reason, the car situation, it's just like people driving around town. It's just we don't do anything about it. I don't know if it's the fear of cars, the fear of the drivers, blaming something else, but it's really scary. And along that road, I mean, people are flying down. You have 2 3-year-olds walking around, people walking around the track. I mean, you know this. You guys have been here longer than I've been here, and it happens in many streets. But I'm just wondering if there's anything to be done there. I'm sure, of course, there is things to be done. So I just encourage you, your traffic meeting you were talking about, maybe you could bring it up there. Just do something about it, because we don't want to come here one time and say something happened there. I mean, it's just, speed bumps, lights, big signs, whatever, anything, close it off. That'd be my dream. But I know. But just anything. Yeah. Don't get me started. Because then Dan will come up here again. But no, I just, please, if you could look into Veterans Road and really do something about that road. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aunt. Ken, don't make fun of me.
Hi, Michael Beeks, York
Hi,
Heights.
Michael.
This kind of followed from John Tegeter's presentation from last week, and I was thinking about what's worse than land dedicated to use for a solar farm, and it turns out that it's a manicured lawn with the use of fertilizers and weed killers and all the tools for maintaining those, the use of gas to maintain those. Clearing leaves off of lawns, which is not a necessary task. So a lawn is really as palatable to nature as really a parking lot. And what I meant when I was talking with John about this, what I meant was this goes beyond, what I should have said was this goes beyond the choice of, you take the choice for a particular lot, whether it's a solar farm or it's a house. It really goes to the consideration that every homeowner should have. In their criticism of solar farms is if they should consider whether what they're doing with their property and how much chemicals they're using and how much energy they're using maintaining those lawns. It's just a work in progress, but this is kind of the thought that I'm going with. And if there's some way we could encourage people to plant, to not use fertilizers and weed killers.
Mm-hmm.
My lawn is, I call it a 50-foot lawn. From 50 feet away, it looks beautiful.
Mine too.
Thank you, Mike.
I appreciate my weeds.
Anyone else for courtesy of the floor? Motion to close courtesy of the floor?
Motion.
Second.
All in
50
favor?
foot. Aye. The 50-foot lawn.
Like, I like that.
So,
I love it.
So Dan, I will tell you that, it's probably not secret out there, but our police and our traffic cops in particular have been doing ATV patrols, setting up in areas where there's known ATV traffic, looking for them. So we have stepped that up quite a bit in the town from where we were. I came across actually three police cars sort of in waiting in my neighborhood because we have some constant problems, and they've been really addressing it. And unfortunately, there are just some really stupid people out there. To play chicken with a car on an ATV is, it's to me it's like jumping out of a working airplane, but that's my own personal thing. You just can't explain that away. We have done a lot of projects here, not only Underhill Farms. I do take a little, offense to that. We have projects that have been working longer, some shorter that have been through there. The Keir Street project, the Boniello project over on 202-35. There have been projects across the other side of town. There's been store renovations. We've been working at all the projects that are there, and it sort of ties into balance. We had a couple of comments. Well, we had comments about solar, and we're encouraging, or renewables, let me not just say solar, because we've been encouraging heat pumps, we've been encouraging solar, we've been encouraging charging stations, but it takes a while, especially when you talk about the municipal availability of being able to go to plug-in cars to be able to have that availability. We don't have the infrastructure, and that needs to happen before we jump. We do have our Climate Safe Community Task Force looking at solarization of the buildings and other areas in town that it would work. So, it's very important, but once again, walk before you run. But we heard about housing, and we heard about solar panels. We heard about chemicals and phosphorus and things that are used on the ground. It's a balance. I appreciate the comments, but Mark, maybe you missed some of the meetings, but we've gotten ostracized about, oh my God, what's all this housing coming into Yorktown? And then we get ostracized, oh my God, they're trying to build a new building on a lot for a store, for Atlantic Appliance. Someone buys a lot and it's commercial zone and they want to put a store up for themselves instead of rent, they're entitled to. And what this does, and I've spoken about it before, it spurs economic growth, because now you have people like the Triangle Shopping Center that are like, hey, you know what? We have to get it together, and they're going to spend $10 million to do a renovation on that property. Acme is going to do their own interior, which is going to add probably another $1 million or so to that project. We don't control who comes, who stays. The economy might, corporate might. There are a lot of different factors. Our job is to facilitate, and I think our town board has been doing a great job at that and bringing people in. I think we look at the housing. We've been looking at some different, I was talking with Ken actually when we were talking about the field home building to see if that would be a good viable option for workforce housing. We're really trying to keep an open mind, but part of that is finding the people that want to do it. We don't necessarily have that control. We reach out where we can. I know Sergio's been talking to quite a few people to bring in a brew pub and some other restaurants and some other businesses. I've been in touch with a plumbing supply that's supposed to be coming in and taking part of one of the vacant buildings. Unfortunately, in our economy today, on this level, we don't have a ton of tools. But we will keep fighting for you. We will keep working for you. We do listen, and I will also point out the conversation that John had. I specifically asked him to be like Mr. Spock. I wanted just facts about it. I didn't want his feelings, because he has feelings on both sides of that issue. But I said, what is a pro of having solar on a big lot? And part of it was the amount of energy you generate to what those trees, carbon sequestration wise, as well as what happens with your cars that for the people, the neighbors that are moving there. They have their cars, they fertilize their lawns, the phosphorus has come up. They run the heating systems in their houses, which all add to the carbon buildup. There are just so many different facets, options that we don't necessarily, we can't say this fits everything. Never going to work. And, that we listen to the professionals, we listen to the public, and we try to make that best decision with that information. And, that's our job, and we keep doing it. And we have some great voices here on the board. There are 5 people here with 5 very different voices, and they look out of 5 very different windows, and we will keep moving along with that. I would love to see if you could email me that Harvard study. I'd like to read a little bit about that. I'd appreciate that. And then, as Ken mentioned, this Saturday is the fall cleanup, the Battle of Yorktown via the fall. We call it Battle of Yorktown in the spring. But you could find out more information at our Parks and Recreation office or on our website. It's a great day where different clubs and community groups go around and clean sections of the road. I know the Lions do over by the post office, so you should be pretty good there this next week, Dan. We do a good job over there. And we'll, it's a very, very enjoyable time. I was actually surprised. It slipped my mind. I was showing someone a photo when we had first gotten our dog Olivia, she came out on one of the cleanups with us, and she had a little bag that she was tied to her that she was carrying around with garbage. But it is a great community day, and I highly recommend anyone, if you see someone, stop and thank them, or if you have some time, stop and join them. Any club would be more than happy to have you there. We do recommend wearing a vest, something bright and something great with colors. So. Refuse and, what did I say? Oh, I said parks. Thank you for the
Sorry.
correction, Dan.
Yeah.
The refuse and recycling department. Wow.
That's correct.
Sorry, it's been a long day. It's been a long couple of days.
Dan knows his craft.
He does. And, Anthony, the marquee is a great idea. We just did a tremendous amount of renovations in the theater, including new doors out front, the lobby, the seats, the carpeting. And there are some other priorities, and we'll come back around to that. We're hoping that Sergio is able to work with Augie and team and get a fundraiser going there. They were trying to do that. And hopefully, if they do, they could count on you to help get out that word and get some support. We have been doing a lot for the library as well, but they've been doing a great job at grants. I actually have a presentation tomorrow for part of the New York Forward grant that we're looking for. So we're hoping to really have a major infusion into the town. We've never gotten to the interview phase, and that's happening tomorrow with myself and Robin Steinberg from our planning department. And we think that's a very, very good sign of things to come and hopefully move forward. And the Veterans Road traffic, I personally would love to do a streetscaping there, which could be part of that grant.
Yeah, almost like walkable. Like,
Once we do
I don't want to say
sidewalks.
walkability, but like sidewalks.
Once we do sidewalks,
I'm
it
teasing.
slows traffic, it shrinks the road. There was an interesting thought that popped up into my mind when you said close it, but maybe to go to a one-way street. I know we looked at that for Commerce Street one time, so I'll float something like that past Dave. He might laugh me out of his office, but there are some opportunities there, and we could look at that. It would also, if you could parallel or park
Angled.
perpendicular or angled, that would actually help for car parking too. So a great idea.
I still say Commerce Street one way.
Yeah, and as I already spoke about, Michael, you're absolutely right. And that's there are just so many God
So-
bless.
Bless you.
There's so many
Seasonal
things to
treat.
weigh out between solar, home ownership, and John really opened my eyes to that in his conversation, and definitely the phosphorus. I'm very familiar with the way that New York State is on us to control that. So, thank you.
I think to Mike's point, though, Michael's point is that in order to maintain a solar farm, it's just as much, right, fertilizer and stuff like that. Wasn't that what you were saying? They have to manicure it and keep the panels clean so the sun hits them. Okay. Well, hey, I'm for Commerce Street one way, right?
Well, no, I was talking about veterans.
I know what you were talking about. I'm talking about commerce.
You just switched it up a little bit.
So, Larry, offline, I'd just like to talk to you about, the electric vehicle stuff is great. You make your own energy. I get the concept. And I would be in favor of retrofitting all the rooftops in Yorktown on our government buildings with solar panels. That would be, I think, the path I would be happy to go down. I just don't know what happens. So when we buy a vehicle, we don't necessarily keep it for. We usually keep it for more than 5 years, 5 or 6 years. Is it? And we'll talk offline. But is it accurate to believe that a battery only lasts 4 or 5 years, or 5 or 6 years? Because if that's the case, that's not the case. You don't have to replace the battery.
We can't have a conversation about it.
We'll talk offline. But that's my question to you, because that's also a concern. Because if you have to replace the battery, that's a huge expense as well. All right. Anyway, so those are my comments. Anybody else?
To piggyback on that, I got educated a little bit on the electric vehicles. We happen to be in the Northeast, and every at least 1 or 2 weeks, we go down to sub-zero. And charging in sub-zero is very difficult for electric vehicles. They don't charge like they do in your garage. You know, not everybody has a garage. You know, so I'm all for some electric vehicles where we can house them in a garage, but I got educated on the maintenance on them, the auto mechanics. There's a smaller pool that knows them. The charging in sub-zero weather, and you know, it just I'm for it, but you just can't rip a Band-Aid off and go, we're going electric 100%.
Well, I think
you know,
I
you
think
just
Larry.
can't.
I think Larry recommended hybrid
Yeah.
to start, which is some
and,
some
you know,
balance, but you do
and
have
have
to
a-
worry about the cold and
have a 5 or 10 year plan to get the fleet 90% or 80% there. Or
Honestly,
something like that.
if you're using these cars just to be in town, you know, a full electric car would work. I mean, our cars aren't going down to other municipalities all the time, and most of them probably stay within the confines of our borders. And an electric vehicle would work great. If I worked in Yorktown, and you know, I spent most of my time on a daily basis. Like today, I was in Rye, I was in Mamaroneck, I was in the Bronx. You know, then I was back up here. You know, and then I went to go see my family. It wouldn't. That's why I bought a hybrid. But you know, my car on the hybrid just doesn't get enough mileage on the electric. It gets like 30 or 35, but it does regenerate as you drive, so it does save anyway. But you know, for that's why I think we would need a hybrid approach to, you know, transitioning to the electric vehicles and hybrid electric and gas. I mean, you're going to need some that are still gassed just to get the longevity, the
Susan,
distance.
you wanted to?
Yeah, just to pursue on the vehicles, which is not an area that I'm familiar with, but I think what Larry is suggesting is that when a department head goes out to purchase, he should look at both options, and he should look at the pros and cons of both options, the battery life, all the mileage issues, and then make a decision. But look and compare, and I think that's what he is saying.
But it has been a constant conversation, and we are getting our first hybrid car coming in that we got from a grant. So I'll find out where that is at right now.
Okay, and just
So we are moving there.
good. Just other things on the ATV. I'm glad to hear that the police are, you know, targeting some places. And just a reminder to parents that ATVs are not allowed on any town property. That includes all the parks, all the trails, and they are not allowed on the roads, period, okay? And ATVs must be licensed by the state, registered with the state. Dan, you brought up the littering issue, and which reminded me that several years ago, the town purchased a camera, which actually caught somebody once. Is that camera being used any place? I know it should be kept secret.
I just asked for it to be placed somewhere.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay, and it's a secret where it's placed. All right. All right.
Yes, don't throw any litter out behind town hall because we don't want to catch you on camera.
And on the solar, we had a discussion a week ago, and just for the town board to explore options on what they wanted included in the revised law, which there's a moratorium and it ends the end of March. We didn't come to any conclusions, any guidance as to give the attorney and to John when they're drafting it, and we do need another discussion. So we have very few meetings left, but if we can possibly get that done in December, we have one work session in December. If we could possibly put that on the agenda, that would help to give staff time to start drafting a law based on the guidelines that we give them. And then we would start discussing the legislation in January and give ample time for review of the legislation, the public hearing, so we comfortably meet that March deadline.
So that is the goal, to meet the March deadline. We do have some pretty full agendas to finish the year. And I'm already looking into our January agendas as well.
Well, we have to do that. And also, I've spoken to some of we have several community groups who are involved in solar energy, and I would like to invite them to make a presentation in January at a town board meeting to talk about the solar on the rooftops in their homes like you have and Larry and many other people have.
I would rather wait for our community climate task force to be ready with their presentation, Susan, versus you know, if we want to do a special meeting sometime and do it on solar energy and bring in someone, we've done that with the county and with the state in the past. Although the state is removing a lot of the incentives that were there as of this year, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, we could do something like that with a special energy meeting and have it recorded, broadcast, and all. I don't know if with the amount of work that you were even just talking about that we need to do, that we're going to be able to fit that type of, that's a rather long, lengthy type of meeting.
Well, I think there are two issues. One is encouraging homeowners to do something on their property, specifically their roofs. The second issue is identifying locations on town property
Yeah,
that we can do. The rooftops, people have mentioned the community center, for example, as one location. I don't know where they are, and I know that the Climate Smart.
Yeah, they were working on that.
They're working on what to do on town property. Okay, so they're related, but they're two separate issues. And in terms of, yes, we have a lot of items on our agenda, which is why I hope that come January, we will be returning to meetings 4 times a week.
And
4 times a month, I
and-
mean.
And to Larry's point, I think we really need to do a deep dive and kind of push forward on getting solar, because, yeah, we could buy electric cars, but if we're not making our own electricity, right, Larry? Then it's not as beneficial. So, so you know, that's why I think retrofitting our buildings is should be one of our primary focuses.
God bless.
next year.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
And I'd be in favor of that. All right.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay, so I have, Dan, I hear what you're saying about the traffic with the, you know, with what's happening now by Uncle G's and TJ Maxx and all that. I do remember when I first took this seat, one of the biggest conversations was how we were a pass-through town. And I guess from coming from down county, originally living in Mount Pleasant and then living in the city and then having businesses in Mamaroneck and Rye, I feel like for the first time, I still get a relief that we don't have as many cars, but I do see that people actually are coming here and staying, going shopping, meeting their friends for lunch, where I didn't see that in past years. But I understand what you're saying about the traffic, and I think it's a change. Because we were going through that Yorktown Green and there was like nothing there before Uncle Giuseppe's took over and whatnot, and now there's a lot there. So I'm all for that. Larry, I hear what you're saying about finding the source so that we can be resourceful. I think that's the key. Mike, I want to comment on that too. It's like, how do we get cleaner by just our basic needs so that we can recycle and reuse and like be a little bit savvier for that? I guess that's kind of what the compost is for and all of those wonderful things. My kids do it naturally. They just leave their peels out for me to collect. It's great. So I'm all about that. Mark, when you send it to him, just send it to all of us, the rating. Because just like Ed was saying with John, there's multiple lenses to look at every situation. And in order to get the best decision, we have to look at every situation. And sometimes there's a magical find somewhere. But if we don't have the infrastructure or the ability to see it through, we can't jump sometimes. Sometimes I'm in such an agreement for such a vast change, but I don't see how we can do it without doing the basic things the town needs so that it can support the switch up or the turnover or whatever it is. So I would love to read about it. Ken, I'm sorry about the Great Fall. And, you know, my kids are picking up litter even when we're going on our trail hikes. We will continue to do so. And yes, Anthony, sidewalks. I'll keep I see sidewalks. And yes, and Veterans has like the nursery school. It has the playground. It has the track. It has the Legion. There's a lot of things there. It's got a lot of things that like bring people in and out or like a quick drop off. So I hear what you're saying, and also it's a great pass through to like other things. And yeah, that's it. So and Howard, thank you for your love and support. It was really kind.
Yes. All right, we're going to move on to personnel. Appoint James Torrey, Senior Recreation Leader in the Parks and Recreation Department. This would be effective December 5th, 2024. Annual salary of $68,580, contingent upon successful completion of a drug test, and delayed start date of December 16th, 2024, and that'll be used as the first date of appointment. and that the appointment is subject to probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks, commencing on the first date of appointment on December 16th, 2024. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so getting a senior rec leader there, that's great. We're going to convene a public hearing to consider a proposed local law to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2025. And if I could ask our comptroller, Janelle McNeil, to come to the podium.
There's the advertisements.
Thank you. Advertisements? We have not received anything.
There's no comments.
No comments outside of that.
No comments.
Yep. Janelle.
Okay, okay, so the tax cap. Okay.
Janelle, could you move the mic closer?
Sorry, yes.
You don't want to get yelled at.
Sorry. Okay, so the tax cap starts when we go onto the New York State Office of the Comptroller's website. They pull our data from last year, and they let us know where our limit will be when we create our budget for 2025. So when I went in and calculated our numbers, they told us our tax levy limit is the $35,001,657. So that's our starting point. Next line. So then the tax cap, which is important to know, is the tax cap is calculated on all funds, where right now out in social media and on all the newspapers right now is everyone is seeing the tentative budget and the tax rate, and that's basically based on our town tax, which is just our three funds, our general, our library, and our highway. So this is a little bit different because the tax cap is based on the total townwide budget. Which includes basically the town tax, then the park districts, the sewer districts, and then the medical, the refuse, and the water districts. So when we create our budget, we start off by saying, okay, how much is it going to take to operate the town? So we just handed in the preliminary budget today, which the board will do after this, and it will be online for everyone to see the preliminary. But the preliminary operating budget that we're coming up with is the $73,795,540. Then we look at how much non-property tax revenue that the town brings in, and that is projected to come in at $35,575,376. And we're going to use fund balance for all the funds of $1.765,910. So you reduce those two, the non-property tax items and the fund balance that we're going to use, and that's the amount that we would have to raise in taxes, which is $36,460,612. And then we compare that to what they told us in the tax cap, that we are allowed to raise the tax levy to $35,001,657. So the difference that we're over is $1.458955 million, which is 4.16% over the 2% allowed. Also, the 2025 tax cap levy is the 35 million, and if you compare that to the adopted budget that we had last year of 34 million, the difference is 982,871. If we stayed within the tax cap, that would be the total amount that we would be able to raise the levy by. And you can see that we're over by the $1.4 million. The difference between the two, including the 982 and the 1.4, comes out to $2.4 million above where we're supposed to be at. So you can see that we're not going to be within the tax cap. So next slide. The reason why we're not going to be in the tax cap is as our budget keeps increasing and our expenses keep increasing, our non-property tax revenue does not increase at the same rates, and the gap is just growing wider and wider. The amounts of increases that we're seeing from our contractual obligations that we have no control over are double digits, and it's just making it where, like I said, the appropriations and the operating budget is far exceeding what we can charge in fees to the residents for non-property tax revenue. So our medical increases are projected to come in at 12.7%, which would mean just our medical increases alone are $960,000. Then also, our computer contractual is up 62,000. Our retirement is up between the PFRS is the police and the ERS is the employee, all the other employees. So that difference is about $700 and something thousand for the increases for the retirement. Our general insurance is up about 20%, $214,000. Our refuse contract actually went down, and we had savings of $789,000 when we switched the contract. But our refuse equipment, we are budgeting for that to go up for $525,000 because the refuse department, their equipment is so old that they need to start budgeting to replace equipment. And then the water supply, where we purchase our water for the water districts, is a pass-through where we get charged from the Northern Westchester Joint Waterworks. We have no control over those costs, are up $241,000. And then right now, we're still in negotiations with all of our employees, the superior officers, the PBA, our managerial staff, and all of our employee staff. So once all those numbers come in, that would be, added on to the 2 million that were over there just for the major categories. So out of the $73 million budget, this is a slide to show where we spend our dollars. So out of that $73 million townwide budget, which includes the services for everything townwide, which tonight, the number one, basically police force that we have in New York State to make sure that everyone here is safe. So it covers the police, the highway, your, paving your roads, snow plowing, the library, the refuse and recycling department, your parks, your recreation, senior nutrition services, the building, the planning, the engineering department, the water districts, sewer districts, the town clerk, the town court, park districts, a museum, and then all the general government support of all the staff that works behind the scenes to support all those services. So 64% of that budget is the labor that provides those services, so the town residents have those services. So there's really, when you look at the budget and you say, well, where can we cut from? The other little piece that makes up the rest besides the 64% is hard to cut from there and make any kind of impact to the budget. If you were gonna, try to reduce something to save money on your budget, that means basically you're impacting your services to the residents, and I don't think that most of the residents would want to see, services cut. So the town is very fiscally responsible with the portion of, the non-contractual things. So when we spend money, we make sure that we follow procurement policies to make sure that we're always spending responsibly, either whether or not, we're looking for going out for bids so we get the lowest rate, or that we make sure that we get contract pricing. And then also some initiatives that we've started townwide to save money on the other costs that are non-labor related is that this year we implemented using 2 different banks besides the other banks that we have, which is New York Class, which we've been receiving higher interest rates on treasuries on the money that we have. Then we also instituted using JP Morgan Securities, which they have higher interest rates on CDs. We've gone out for a proposal for a request for information technology to see if we can find some savings townwide on our computer costs. We've also brought some project management for IT in-house, which has saved us money. Last week, we just awarded the bid for workers' compensation administration change, which will save us significant amount of money over the long term. We've also just completed the telephone system, which the same thing, that's going to bring us savings every month based on our telephone system townwide. We also are instituting a surveillance system, which will protect all the town assets and insurance compliance. We've had a couple of vandalisms to the pools and to our vehicles, so this will save us money where taxpayer dollars do not have to pay for damaged items. We've also did some shared services with Westchester County for IT things, so we've saved some money there. We've also instituted a new Mail 365 multi-factor authentication. And for that, you say, what does that have to do with saving the town money? But a lot of towns, if they get ransomware, they've had to pay millions of dollars out to get their information back. So we've instituted that. We've also switched to the .gov website, the same thing. It's increased security to make sure that the town assets are protected. We just finished a cybersecurity audit, the same thing, to make sure that the town assets, that they're secure. And we've also instituted account verification, which is basically anything that we make payments to electronically to make sure that they're really going to the correct vendor's account, to make sure that there's no one that's scamming us, to make sure that we're sending them money that they're not supposed to receive. So we definitely know that, it's a significant increase, but the town is definitely trying to be fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. And it's just a point of that the costs that are coming in that we have to put into the budget are, beyond our control. They give it to us and we have to put it in there, and that's where we're at.
Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you for all your efforts.
Yes, your efforts have been incredible for the last, I'm gonna say intensely, the last 2 weeks,
Intense.
but.
Thank you.
I was just talking before, I don't think you were here, but I mentioned how Luciana set us up for a Girl Scout event because she couldn't make it at 7 p.m. on a Friday.
Mhm.
And how when I got here,
had a workshop.
I was able to sit and talk with you while you were in your office working. So, it's very much appreciated, very much seen. Your whole department's really been, some of these projects were not easy projects. It took,
Most of them were not easy.
I think it took, 12 years to get the phone system over the line,
Yep.
over the finish line, and a lot of it had to do with the wiring of the
Yes.
buildings and all.
Yeah.
So your tenacity and then the pricing on things as well. Sandy's been great at saving,
Yes.
Let's not just let our IT company do something, we'll figure it out and just tell them what we need, and then, especially in purchasing, because they kill us with
Right,
that.
everywhere where we can save money, we've been trying to save money and be efficient, and that goes, I think, townwide with all the department heads. You see that when everyone comes,
Well, I know you're doing a good job by the amount of grumbling that I hear, yes.
But honestly, like you did the workman's comp, and like fast forward a year or two, we're going to be saving close to $500,000 a year.
Yes, hopefully.
That's huge.
Yes, yeah.
You guys did a great job, And meanwhile, we could have been spending that if we didn't look into it.
Yes,
But
yeah.
you did a great job.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, to open for public comment, a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any public comment at this time?
Come on, Dan the man. Come on.
Never know.
The only thing I wanted to mention, I think Janelle does a terrific job, by the way. Back a few years ago, there was discussion about back taxes. And also, I believe, foreclosing on properties. I'm not sure if they were related, but that was a source of revenue that was supposed to maybe help the town out. I'm not commenting on the budget itself and all of the numbers. Has anything been done along those lines? There was supposed to be a crackdown, as I remember, on either both. I'm not sure if they're related or separate items, back taxes and house foreclosure. And the only reason I always think of the house foreclosure, because there's a house on Route 35 next to where a guy bought a house and redid it. It's on the way into town, and it's been sitting there for years. And I don't delve that much into the records to see what the deal is on that. But obviously there's a stall there. And so that's my question. has there been an effort in both of those areas to try to help out with the budget and balancing the budget? Thank you.
Thanks.
I'd like to answer.
I'll address it
right.
afterwards. Thank you,
Oh,
Susan.
all right.
And if we could keep, the public hearing is about the ability for us to vote to break the tax cap. So that is where we need to keep the comments. I will answer your question, Dan, without a problem at the end. Not really.
There
but-
will be another public hearing where.
Well,
where
that doesn't affect the tax cap per se.
No, but the comments would have
Anyone
been more
else
appropriate.
for public comment? All right, motion to close,
Motion.
public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can vote on that.
Hmm?
You vote to close or not close the public
Okay.
comment.
So, Dan, I'll just answer real quick. New York State has changed their laws, so now if we go into foreclosure with someone who has not paid their property tax, it actually costs the town money. We now become the realtor and the bank and the advertiser for it. So we cannot recoup those charges where we used to be able to. But what happens is if someone does not pay their tax, the house does go, there's a tax lien put on it. And that tax lien, and I've looked into this very extensively, apparently the first person, when knocking on the door when that house sells, is the town for their taxes. So that has to get paid off at the sale. So it's an unfortunate way to do it, but we cannot at this point go and foreclose and pay money to receive money. And I believe they might have also eliminated the penalty phase out of it as well. But I have to look at that because there's been a lot of debate with our assessors across the state. They're not very happy with the with this happening because it really handcuffs the towns, and it almost rewards people who don't pay their taxes.
Except there still is a 12% interest that they pay when they don't pay their tax bill. So that sometimes over the years, that interest becomes a very significant amount that they also owe. But yes, because that was a question, because I've been pursuing that for years, and I did ask the tax receiver about that last week when we were meeting with the department heads, and she explained the change in the town law, as the supervisor said. So sort of our hands are tied, so eventually we will get that. However, there are some properties on that list. It's roughly $4 million in unpaid taxes. There are some properties that are in a different category, and I think that, for example, there's some vacant land that used to be owned by a homeowners association that is now defunct. So there's nobody to ever collect, and that land is not going to be sold. That, I think we just have to bite the bullet and wipe it off our accounts receivable and take a hit on the fund balance for that. We have to do that, which I did many, many years ago when I was supervisor, with things that are just not, we have to realize they're not collectible.
Adam, years ago, people used to buy people's tax liens. I'm not going to go any further than that, but
You can't really do that anymore.
you can't do that anymore. See?
All right.
That doesn't even work, Dan.
We need a vote.
Yep, at this point, I have a motion for us to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2025.
I'll make that motion.
So you're closing the public hearing and then you're going to adopt
Adopt.
the local law?
Yes,
Yes.
this is a motion to adopt the
Okay, so I
motion.
close public comment. So
Need to close.
first, I have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then a motion to adopt the local law to override the tax levy limit for the fiscal year of 2025.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So, next up are resolutions. So from the Office of the Town Board, authorize the town clerk to advertise a public hearing for the preliminary budget for fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025.
Can you pass the one to adopt that budget first? Tentative to the,
Where did you have
This
it?
one?
Oh,
yeah, right here.
This one right here.
thank you. Yeah, I have a copy. All right, so we'll go to this one. Whereas the tentative budget was received and adjusted by the town board at its budget review meetings with the department heads. And whereas the following changes were made to the tentative budget, and now therefore it be resolved that the tentative budget is hereby adopted as a preliminary budget. Do we have copies of this in the crowd, or do we have copies of this?
No, we do not. Anybody that wants a copy can get one from me after the meeting.
I'll run through it real quick. Here are the changes that are there. Street opening fees of $15,000, sales tax $100,000, rec fees, camp $55,000, rec fees, pools $25,000. These are changes from our tentative to our preliminary. Rec concessions $4,944, planning fees $25,000, inspection fees of $20,000, general development fees up $30,000, service to other government $10,000, interest $630,150, building permits $85,000, fines and forfeited bail $55,000, nutrition $2,000, miscellaneous $30,000, state aid per capita $1,777, mortgage tax $150,000, federal aid nutrition $5,000, minor sales of $2,500, sewer rents $190,513, retirement $646,300, contingent $137,953, parks and temporary help $9,500, salaries $15,457, police sick reward $18,452, parks overtime will decrease $9,500, vacation buybacks $47,000, FICA and Medicare $58,000 deduction, MTA tax $100 reduction, insurance $63,466 reduction, highway contingent contractual $10,000, library interest $20,000, library contingent contractual $12,500, standby down $7,000, special projects down $75,000, equipment refuse down $25,000, maintenance for our pump station increase of $50,000, and our ALS from tentative to preliminary down $8,161. May I have a motion?
I'd like to I have something to say before we vote. Okay. Last week, as the usual practice, the board met Wednesdays and Thursday with department heads. I think we spent over the 2 days, over 9 hours going through line by line the supervisor's tentative budget. At the end of those 9 hours, okay, there was concern about the tax rate increase in the town tax, as Janelle explained, the general highway and library fund. There was no agreement on what could be cut. There was really no discussion about what was going to be cut. So when we left on Thursday, the comptroller was going to look for additional revenue to offset, to try to lower the tax rate. You needed, for every 1% decrease in the tax rate, she had to find $250,000. That was her assignment at the end of the day, Thursday. Yesterday, at about, I think it was about 5 p.m., I got a copy online of the preliminary budget. Okay. We still don't have a hard copy. The town board, this list that the supervisor read out, okay, there has been no town board discussion about these. So if we're voting tonight to adopt this preliminary budget, it's because we have never discussed this, whether I like that one line or I don't like one line, or I want to make some other changes. And so we're basically voting on a preliminary budget that the comptroller put together, possibly with the supervisor. And I just want the public to know about that, because I think the town board is voting to adopt this budget, but we're voting to adopt something that as a board we have not discussed. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. So I will say that we have discussed it.
No.
We did not discuss every individual line. The discussion centered around the desire for Janelle and myself to go back and look at the revenue lines to see if there was, so to speak, any meat on the bones, which is what we did. The town board, with the exception of yourself, did not think it appropriate to have as high a tax increase as we were projecting. Now, we are voting to put this preliminary budget out, and then we will have a budget hearing. At that budget hearing that's being advertised today, that will approve for advertisement today, we will be able to have comments if you think there are any errors on the revenue line. But I can tell you that after our meetings on Thursday until late, and then again on Friday, I spent time with Janelle, who very graciously pushed aside a lot of other work for me to accommodate my schedule, and we looked at every line. We did comparisons over the last 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years to make sure that there was there. And part of the belief structure I know that Sergio had given to me is, if we think we are doing better than projected in this conversation on the revenue line, is it appropriate for us to dip into the pockets of the taxpayers, or should we fix that line? And, I've had comments from all of you about the budget, and I appreciate all of them. That one rang the truest to me because that has been sort of the philosophy over the last 5 years of not raising. We were doing well in revenue. We were doing well with grants coming in. Our fund balance was building. Was it appropriate to falsely inflate the taxes to protect the tax cap, or do we move forward and utilize some of that money? Well, unfortunately, over the last 5 years, while that had worked and while that was a good philosophy, we cannot keep up with, over 5 years, our insurance rates and contributions going up $2.5 million in 5 years without finding some way to adjust it. You were here for all the line items. We did go through them. We did look to see where we could cut. You were more than welcome to bring up something as we went through it with every department head, which they did also with me separately when we met for the supervisor's tentative budget. So there were ample opportunities, and I think your explanation of it is a little one-sided and not really giving a complete picture.
No, I think you're misinterpreting what I said. My concern is the process that the town board is voting to adopt a preliminary budget tonight, which includes these changes that we as a board have not discussed. For example, and also I never said at the budget meetings that I was comfortable with the 8.6% increase. I never said that. Okay, so but it's the process of the town board.
Disagree with that. You said it multiple times.
The town board, it's our responsibility to discuss and adopt a budget. For example, if I wanted to raise just one question that I might have wanted to discuss with my colleagues.
Is there anything you'd like to discuss right now, Susan, on those?
No, I'm not going to do that now. I'll have to be at the budget. For example, an increase. We had to find increased revenue. The expenses actually increased. We didn't know that. When we left on Thursday, we saw what the total revenue was, and we were looking at, we saw the total expenditures, and the task for the comptroller was to see what additional revenues that she could find to lower the tax rate, which I was totally comfortable with. What the comptroller learned after that meeting on Thursday was the actual retirement costs came in after that, and that increased by $500,000. So, which we didn't know that, okay? Also, there were other changes that had to be made. $630,000 additional expenses, which we did not know about when we left that meeting on Thursday. So the comptroller had to do a lot of changing in terms of revenue and expenditures, which is her job, okay? But it's the town board's job to look at three dozen changes in the budget and to say, just the way we went through each line on the supervisor's budget, it's our job to look through these lines and say, I agree with that change, I agree with that change, no, I have some questions about this. Could you please explain that? For example, the interest income is increasing by $630,000. Well, I had some questions about that. I just want to have a question.
Well, I could have Janelle come up and talk about it. Janelle,
Well, what-
come up, please.
No, but what I.
No, Susan, don't tell me I'm not
Then
doing it.
I would like a
and then-
discuss, then I
That's
would like a
fine. That's fine.
discussion.
We don't have to vote yet.
About these.
Let's discuss.
That's
why
the-
Janelle's waiting
that
here all
is the
day.
process that I am raising.
That's
It's a
fine.
process issue that we need this discussion
When-
before we have this
Right.
resolution.
So, but when we left, the number went down. And on Friday, when we got the other numbers,
know.
it went back up.
Yeah.
And so, but we looked at these items as asked by the board.
Yes, because
So-
you were okay with the height, you were okay with the 8.6.
100% okay with that.
Yes, you
with
were.
that
You said, I
number.
hope you guys
most
adopt this
certainly
because
will.
it's our fiscal responsibility. And I said, absolutely
that
not. Affordability is struggling in this country, especially amongst my neighbors. And we need to find a way where we can be savvier and cut. And then Janelle was like, I'm going back in. And that's why she was here till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
I worked all weekend to.
Before we ask Janelle any questions, can I make
figure
some
that out,
comments?
so,
So this
yep.
way we could get Janelle ask her all the questions?
Sure.
So, I mean, I wasn't comfortable with the 8.6 at all. I'm still not comfortable with where we are now. One of the questions that Janelle can answer shortly is what the 6%, because we're talking percentages, that's, most people don't understand that. Most people think that it's going to be a percentage of your total tax bill.
Right.
People think that their total tax bill is 25, that includes the school taxes, this percentage. So we'd like to get some clarity on that. I do appreciate, because you were extremely conservative on our revenue lines intentionally.
We always are.
Because, yeah, and I understand what you were doing and that you're looking out for the town. And I appreciate you going into the revenue lines and like I only asked for a little bit, to give the taxpayers some money back. So I'm impressed by you, even though more money came in, more expenses came in, as Ms. Siegel alluded to, and that you still got us down 2 points. I'm still very apprehensive about it. I will tell you that I'm going to wait to the public hearing before I make my final decision. I will be voting in favor of adopting this tonight, just so this way we can get to the public hearing phase. I want to hear what the people have to say.
Me too.
So let's start in order. Ms. Siegel had some questions, and then you could address my questions. I don't want to skip the line.
How did you, on what basis did you increase interest by $630,150?
So what I did was I also went on to other towns' tentative budgets that are published and researched them as well. Like Sergio said, usually as accountants, we're very conservative with numbers with the revenues. So usually we look for a certain amount of history before we adjust numbers. But looking at other looking at other towns, they also increased their revenue based on like 2023 numbers. So in 2022, say just in the general fund, our interest was at 400 and something thousand, and then in 2023 it went to 1.3, and now in 2024 we were at, in the budget when you guys saw, I think we were at like 1.7,
Yep.
but that's only through September. I still have 3 more months of interest, so we're probably going to end over $2 million. So to say that we could bring it to the 2023 number is still conservative. It's not going to drop that much money in 1 year.
So just for clarity, your original number, even though we had 2023 at 1.3 and 2024 at 1.7, your original number was 800,000.
Right, which is conservative because we were saying somewhere in the average between the two of them, right? Because we can't guarantee that we're going to be at 2 million.
Right.
We're probably not going to be at 4 million, So you budget conservatively, and then you go back and you look, and if we can have some room there. But also another offside to that is I looked at my mortgage tax. So actually, with my mortgage tax and the interest, they really offset each other. So in my 2023 number, if the interest doesn't do as well and the interest rates start going down and the mortgage tax goes up, I'm really just offset on my two numbers.
Well, that's one of my concerns, because I think we all know in our own personal lives that what's going to happen to the interest rates, we just don't know. I mean,
Correct,
they
but-
have been coming down. So that was one concern that they.
So
But what I'm
Susan,
saying is if they come down, my other side is my mortgage tax, and that's gonna go up, and that I did not budget.
But
They've come down, they've come down
well,
one time.
the irony of it is where the Fed reduced the rate 75 basis points, the interest rates on the 10-year yields has actually gone up.
Gone up, yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
predict it.
right.
every morning.
And this is a best projection. It's a budget. It's not, I don't have a magic ball to say that this is what it's gonna be, but we can realistically look at it and still conservatively say, if I budget it at the 23 number, I'm probably gonna come in, somewhere, if it goes down, somewhere around there, but, 850,000, maybe it was too conservative at first. Like I said, as accountants, when we budget, we like to budget on past history, but you also do have to take into account that the future, if you know certain facts, you can project based on a future prediction.
Or extreme behaviors that we've
Yes,
seen.
right.
And
because, yeah,
and I was the one that asked you to do that,
Yes.
and I appreciate that you listened.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, I went and I looked at other budgets, and other municipalities are
Doing the
accounting
same.
for their revenue also, because if it's a real number that we can substantiate and use it to offset increased expenses, we have to put it in there.
Can you explain
so
why?
mortgage tax and interest is like a seesaw.
Yes.
One goes up,
yes.
the other one.
Because
So
like this year we
one or the
budgeted,
other.
I think, like 1.2 million, but we get two payments coming in. Our first payment was like 400,000.
I just want to explain to
Yep.
people that as one goes up, the
yep.
other one goes down.
Right.
And you have a bad one, the other one
Yes.
goes up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did insurance went down 63,000? Is that based on what?
That's based on that workers' comp with the new policy, because we should save on admin fees.
Oh, that's the workers' comp.
Yes.
That's workers' comp insurance.
Yes.
You increased several fees that are related to development, the planning fees, the inspection fees, the general development
Correct.
fees.
I already wrote that back to, I think, the entire board, that the reason that I increased those was based on the historical data. So if you look
That's
at our.
historical
if
data,
you
but
look at our
it's not
numbers.
based on what's in the pipeline for development.
Just said I shouldn't base my interest on the pipeline, I should do it on the historical, so.
No, well, historical is.
So now,
Well, the nice part is if the pipeline comes through,
Yeah.
then we under budgeted to go over budget, and we'll have extra money to put somewhere.
So
What's in the pipeline in development is applications in front of
I
the
understand that,
planning
but they're not
board.
guaranteed. If the world was to go
Absolutely.
to tomorrow, they're not guaranteed. So we're not taking them into consideration. However, we know that they're there to grab at later on.
Susan, I will tell you that Janelle and I had an extensive conversation with my pulling out our significant projects books, going through the projects that are coming up
Where there could be cushions.
as in the Triangle Center, which should be a no-brainer because it's really, I don't even know if they're probably going to do some site work. I think they're doing sidewalks. We looked at the possibility of AMS, the possibility of Toll Brothers. So,
Those are far off.
but Janelle
Right,
said,
but they're risk-
let's look at these numbers, and we can't bank on that. And I agreed with her. That's
All right, I just think that some of the revenue is, I didn't want to see any cuts, all right, other than what a department head said, yeah, I could do it with less on some. I'm concerned that, some equipment lines are down, some software maintenance is down. I'm concerned that 75,000 is cut from special projects in water. I know you're going to say, well, we can always take it from the fund balance, the water fund balance. That's the logical answer for that. But again, I value this discussion and I value the difference of opinion. And was my initial
that's
thought
fine.
that it should have been a discussion rather than a routine just automatically
But
voting
that's-
for this.
We're having the discussion
Okay.
now.
Only
We also
because I
had-
asked for it.
I know, but Susan, we also had this discussion
Exactly.
before, and we asked her to go sharpen her pencils.
But Susan's right, but I will just say that we've done this multiple times, that someone says, well, I want to have some discussion on that.
And we have a discussion.
And that's fine.
That-
I know you've had a lot of discussion via email, talking about a lot of the different things. I appreciate it. I've fielded questions from Sergio, from Patrick, from Luciana. If you want to, any time that we have something on that you want to have conversation about before we vote, I have never said no.
It should be with the five of us. It should be a.
No, I understand.
Other than a factual question, which I've asked
Right.
Janelle many times, factual.
Right, I
questions.
understand, but, we just finished up Thursday.
Yeah.
There was really not the time. This is where we have to do it, which is fine. That's what the meetings are about. And I'm sure, I could, actually, Larry looks very intent. He's enjoying this. Mark is, I'm a teenager on my phone, but,
Though I like your collar
let
shirt.
me know if there are any good cat videos to watch today. I saw a really cute one earlier. But no, you know what? I think the public appreciates being able to hear some of this, because they're still here.
That's all I'm asking for.
Well, no, it's always available.
Yeah,
That
and,
is my
and it
point.
also could have been available at the public hearing.
And when we did our meetings on Wednesday and Thursday, those were open. Anyone could have
Yeah.
come.
You could have hung out with us all day. We even had bagels.
Yes, and donuts the night.
All day.
It was open.
The budget meetings.
I used to go to all of those meetings when I was.
Then they were
Now
budget
you have to
meetings.
come.
Budget meetings.
Ed Safone. Huh?
No, they were
Yeah, of course.
Those are open meetings.
Those are open
Oh,
meetings.
Dan, I should have texted you. I mean, like, I'm sorry.
We'll let you know next
I thought
time,
we
Howard.
did. Next year you come. We even have coffee
It's exciting stuff.
all day.
And I used to go to those meetings, and some of the summaries of those meetings, I can't remember what year, they're actually still online, all right? And you can see, because that's when you get a good insight into some of the issues of each department. So they were valuable. So tuck this away for next year. It's always in November, roughly 2 weeks after the supervisor comes out with his budget.
So,
And there are bagels.
Susan, are you satisfied at this point that we could move forward?
Oh, I'm going to vote. There's no question. I was
Okay.
going to vote for
No,
it.
no, but I want to
Any
make
more questions?
I want to make sure you're satisfied, though.
I
That's
might
fine.
have some issues at the budget hearing.
That's fine.
At the budget
Okay.
hearing, I will bring up issues.
That's okay.
This was just an issue about the process. And thank you for the discussion and for having Janelle here.
Yeah, it was just the time constraint. Like, I worked all weekend. Monday, when you guys got it, that's,
When you got,
I'm not
literally, like Ed said, we went back through line by line and reanalyzed and said, where can we find additional revenue? And so, we had to research and do our due diligence to make sure we were comfortable changing those numbers.
And
so.
especially since you had the last minute additions that you didn't count on.
yes.
That was really threw you for a loop. Yeah. So, no, that was all. And in fact, I expected when I saw the tentative agenda, which came out, I don't know, Friday or Saturday, I assumed that there would be on the agenda a discussion about the preliminary agenda. And there wasn't. And in fact, even when the final agenda came out late this afternoon, I didn't even see a resolution to adopt the preliminary, to
which
adopt
is-
the
which is
preliminary
here,
budget.
yeah.
So it's
So-
just process. Thank you.
So since this one was read in, if I could have a motion?
Well, I just wanted an answer to my final question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So is that okay?
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I
all right.
forgot.
Oh, so
you
what's the change?
No, so in dollars and cents,
Yes.
because I'm a simple guy,
Yep.
2 +
So-
2 is 4, I know how to do math, I know how to do, so add, subtract, multiply, and divide, okay? All right, so we're looking at the 6% increase. What?
Yep.
So we're looking at the increase.
This is on the town tax.
Just
Alright.
on the town tax.
So on the ADL.
Yep.
And so what does that translate for a person that has, let's say, a $10,000?
So the average homeowner, which is 10,000 assessed units, the change for them will be $110 per year, or $9.24 a month.
That's on the ADL. And then there may be some other districts that they might come in a little extra here, a couple of bucks
Yes.
here, a couple of bucks there.
Yeah, actually,
So that's what the increase would be. It would be about, so on the $10,000, it's not 6%, 6.68 on the 10,000.
Right.
It's 6.68 on their ADL, their
Yes.
town portion.
Correct, yep.
Which doesn't include it's not assessed. I just want to be clear because I've been getting a lot of phone calls and people are thinking that if they have if they're paying $20,000 in taxes,
Yeah, absolutely
it's
not.
the 20
right.
that's going up 6%.
Well, first they have to look at their
6.68.
property tax bill. They can go online to our website and they can go on the tax receivers page and they can put in their information and they can pull up their tax bill. So they'll pull up the town tax bill, which comes out in April, not the school tax, because your school tax has nothing to do with this. We just collect school tax and then we give it to the school. So we have nothing to do with that. And then when they look at their town tax bill, they'll have the town tax, which is the general fund, which again is like the police and the parks and the highway, and then the library. That's all your town tax. And like we said, that's only 10% of your tax bill, of your actual, well, your whole property tax.
Right, so if you have a
$20,000, that's with the school. But if you look at your town tax bill, say the average is, $4,000, $5,000, for the 10,000 assessed units, which is the average, last year your tax bill would have been $1,657, and it would go to, I have the number over there, it's like 1,700 and something. So it's a difference of $110 per year.
And also, I noticed when I looked at the preliminary budget that you sent yesterday, that there are decreases in most of the other special districts. A lot of the sewer districts have decreases, although with the Halleck's Mill district, it's a combination. The tax is going down, but the sewer rent is going up. But some of the others, and frankly, I think as a board, I don't remember that we ever discussed changing the refuse tax or changing the water tax or changing any of those sewer taxes other than the YS, which we did talk about that. So those came as a total surprise to me when I saw that. We never
talked about the water taxes and the.
Wait, what didn't we talk about?
Yes, Dan actually absolutely.
No,
talked
sewer
about the
tax.
sewer.
We talked about YS, and we made.
And Paul talked about.
Paul talked about the water tax.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
the
fact, you
water
were
rates
speaking
and the
about how
sewer
behind we
rates? The water rates and the sewer rates.
No,
You mean-
we talked about water rates,
Mhm.
okay, but
Sewer rates.
we did not talk about the water tax, to my recollection. We talked about water rates, which
Yes,
will,
because he was explaining how it comes out of the joint water works of whatever. You don't remember?
no, the water rates we're projecting in the revenue line for the taxes, we're projecting that we're going to later in the year increase the water rates.
Right, but
the
the tax
needed
comes
water
off the
rates,
rates, right?
but the tax rate, we
The
did.
tax rate is in the tentative budget, and then we.
But
it
it's
hasn't
going down-
changed.
But
Oh,
it's
no,
going
we did.
down.
We reduced it a little bit
Yeah, but
because you guys
But
were
what I'm saying,
uncomfortable that
I
it
don't
was
remember.
over 20%. We
Again,
discussed
this
that.
this
about
process.
We
on the
discussed
day that-
that.
on the-
And the
Yes.
refuse tax, we
I
didn't
thought we
talk
were
about that.
lowering it, and then
Yes.
it was offsetting for the
No.
because we didn't want to increase too much the water rates.
No, because the increase in the water rates that we're projecting, I think for August, you said that's.
Well, they would probably, if you
They're different
you
now with
guys
the
have to do a
meters.
local law, and then
Yeah.
you'd have to increase the water
So
rates,
the
and it won't come
water
out
rates,
till
and that
August.
increase is already factored into the revenue that was in the supervisor's tentative budget.
Do you have any other questions for Janelle
I gotta get my
on
water.
this?
No, that's it.
Okay.
She can go home.
I just wanted to bring up a point, just to put it in numbers that I think of. So if you have a $20,000 tax bill with your school and everything included, your town tax part of it, the things that give us all of our services, is about $2,000. So the rest is school, county, and the other districts. The other districts, I think the school is about 70% of that bill, and the county is
It's 15%.
15. Okay.
So this tax rate percentage, 6.68, would apply in your example to how much? To what percentage?
Well,
The-
I
the
don't.
$2,000.
The basically you're looking at $100 and change.
No, I don't want people to think that their taxes
Over
are
the
going
year.
up $2,000.
No. But the town operates. You get all your police, you get all your parks.
Yeah, unlike Somers, who has to
You
pay
get-
for garbage and all that. Yeah.
You get all of your services within the town. You're for $2,000, which is pretty amazing for what we give.
Right.
So, Janelle, once again, thank you so much for all your work. I
Right,
will.
thank you.
I'll be knocking on your door tomorrow morning, though.
Don't answer it.
Now we have contractual stuff tomorrow.
Yay.
So, we have, do we have a motion to adopt?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I'm gonna leave out the resolution that Susan wants me to,
Well,
so.
did we have the resolution to schedule the public hearing? Did we
No,
do that?
you're
I'm gonna do that now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Authorize the town clerk to advertise a public hearing for the preliminary budget for fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. Authorize the supervisor to accept a community resilience, oh, that's the one you want me to save.
Yes, Kit.
From the Office of the Building Inspector, award the bid for one used Grand Jeep Cherokee for the Building Department. We had two bids, one national distribution for 2021 at $35,699, and one from Westchester Auto for 2023 for $39,887. And looking at the mileage, the extended warranty, and the fact that it had roadside service, it makes sense to go with the 2023 as a best value Grand Cherokee Limited 4x4. So authorize the control of the process of following budget transfer for the building department, and that is for the vehicle. And then, that's already there. Authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement to participate as a member of the Public Employer Risk Management Association, Inc., PERMA, a workers' compensation group self-insurance program. That's the one that we spoke about at the last meeting.
Yep.
Authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer for the Mohegan Highlands Park District. I don't know, Ken. We might have to scrap that one now.
Okay.
As enumerated below.
Is that why he's here?
No, he's here because he loves us.
I know, Ken. Just kidding.
Huh?
Don't forget the truck.
The trucks?
Yeah, we're there. Ford.
The three,
Yeah.
top of
Yeah,
five.
that's where we're going.
Authorize the town clerk to advertise bid for the purchase of 3 Ford F-550 trucks for the highway department. Those are big trucks. Cab and chassis we're looking for. From the Office of Human Resources, authorize the following employees to carry over vacation time for 2024. That is enumerated in the
You're not
chart.
going to read them.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Mohegan Lake District.
Authorize the following managerial employees to buy out the cash equivalent of up to 5 days of unused vacation leave for 2025 or 2024 as enumerated below. From the Mohegan Lake Improvement District, authorize the town clerk to advertise requests for proposals for Lake Mohegan aquatic pesticide treatments. From the Office of the Parks and Recreation Superintendent, authorize the Parks Department to auction the below-listed equipment that has been deemed obsolete and no longer in the use by the Parks Department. 2004 Ford Ranger, 20-year-old Ford, it's a work truck, we got our money out of that. 3 old pool vacuums and 2 old handicapped pool stairs. From the Office of the Planning Department, authorize the supervisor to sign agreement with Weston and Sampson PELS LAPC to perform a wetlands delineation verification for the proposed Teatown Lake Reservation campus renovation. And we're going to authorize to sign an agreement with Weston and Sampson PELS LAPC to perform a wetland delineation verification for the proposed RIC development battery energy storage system.
Ed, I have a question about that. And I think John is still here. In the past, the wetlands delineation had been done by Barton and Ladrudas. Is there a reason why we're going to Weston and Sampson now?
We have both on call, I still believe, John.
So you're just
Yeah.
using both? Is that it?
So, yes,
Thanks. I just wanted to know why. Okay.
keep them hungry. Authorize the comptroller to release the erosion control bond, BSWPPP 049 for work done at 3110 Radcliffe Drive in the amount of $250. Authorize the comptroller to release the erosion control bond, BSWPPP 05623 for work done at 2998 Farm Walk Road in the amount of $500. From the Office of the Water Superintendent, authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer for the Water Department, and that is $50,000 from salaries to overtime. And can I have a motion on those?
Motion.
All in,
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Could I just note that the budget hearing on December 3rd starts at 6:30, which is different from our normal time.
Yes.
We'll put out a notice.
People should realize that, and I encourage residents to please come, and speak. This is your tax rate, these are your tax dollars, and the services that are provided for you, so we need to hear from you. Thank you.
Well said.
And then we go back to one that.
The crest.
The crest
Yep.
grant.
Where is it?
Authorized.
Number 3. Page 2.
Ready.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Authorize the supervisor to accept a community resiliency, resiliency, economic sustainability and technical program grant, also known as CREST, in the amount of $100,000. And that will go for the installation of electronic signboards at the John C. Hart Memorial Library and the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center. All, may I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed. And can I just ask, is that, does anybody have any idea whether that 100,000 will cover both costs? Do we have any idea?
The cost was about 51,000 and change, so it'll be slightly over.
Okay, thank you. The reason I'm opposed is because I said that we needed more discussion about other possible options, and I think, Sergio, you even mentioned one as a possible option, the new marquee signs at the
We're gonna get them both, Susan,
Okay,
don't worry.
fine. And I thought that there could be other projects that
We need
were,
'em.
as interesting as these are, I thought there were others that were more essential.
Okay.
And we feel communication is a wonderful thing. We could even have put on the 6:30 start for the meeting in front of the Capellini Center, so they knew. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
No,
Hold on,
wait,
hold on.
oh.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Killing me, Adam. Yep.
Do you have to with the last case?
All right.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, this is the last one, and then.
Oh, okay.
So, we have been negotiating with,
You want that one?
with Great Midwest Insurance Company and Competitive Carding Corporation for litigation and payment to the town. So resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute a settlement of the Yorktown versus Great Midwest Insurance Company and Competitive Carding Corporation litigation for a payment to the town of $270,000 and the transfer all proprietary interest in the approximately 337 refuse and recycling containers and totes that were abandoned in place on or about August 31st, 2023.
Definitely a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Before you adjourn the meeting, competitive carpeting? I might go into the carpeting business.
Like
That's a good
party.
name.
There you
That's
go.
a good name, huh? Don't you think?
I think so. I think it might be.
Let's
All
close the
Competitive
chapter.
right, and now I
can do
need,
better.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Yorktown. Happy Thanksgiving to all. And you all get extra turkey for staying all night.
Happy Thanksgiving.